Good evening, Pittsburgh. My name's Etiketi. I'm the current world record holder of Redout 2's All Boss category and also the proud owner of a Linare Cup. And joining me on the couch on my left is Cloakshire, and on the right is YaBoiSquanto. So let's do some quick introductions. Cloakshire, who are you?
Hi, I'm Cloakshire. I am the resident Solha main in the community, also the holder of the most time attack world records. I like going fast, and I like playing a fragile ship.
Alrighty. Squanto, what about you?
Hi, I'm YaBoiSquanto, and I'm not as skilled as these two, but I have been watching Eddie play this game for about 3 or 4 years now, since day one, and I've been playing through it casually recently because I told him last year that if he submitted to a GDQ and got in, then I would be learning it seriously, and here we are.
And now finally, it is with a great pleasure that I will introduce a remote dev commentator, Corsat84. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello from Italy. Thanks for having me. I'm Giuseppe Ricofanchi, but you can call me Corsat. I'm the head of design at 34-Bit Things, and I've been the lead game designer for Redout 2.
Fantastic. So really quick, what is All Boss? In Redout 2, we're going to be racing through 12 beautifully crafted environments starting on Mount Fuji and going all the way to Vertex version number soup. That is split into 3 different tracks altogether. What we're going to do is we're going to play the boss track, which is going to combine all 3 of these tracks into a single continuous circuit. And our job is to complete 1 lap of each of these tracks as fast as possible. You're going to see a lot of cuts, a lot of tricks, and a lot of things which are going to make me scared, but which should hopefully be very flashy. So at this point, I now have to ask, Blastorama, what ship won the ship team bid choice?
All right, the bid war is officially done, and the winning ship is Behemoth.
Ooh. Okay.
Literally in a tank.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
Time is going to start when you see a giant go flash on screen. It'll count down, but we'll count down all together. So, are we ready?
Yeah.
Let's get it. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so right away, I want to direct your attention to the bottom of the screen because there's 2 very important bars there. On the right, we have the orange bar, which is the heat gauge. On the left, we have the blue bar, which is your hull. In this game, you can boost using your heat gauge. However, you can, even after overheating, you can continue to boost by chewing into your hull. Think of something like F-Zero. And of course that we do that to increase our speed. And now that little diamond there that's gonna be turning green real soon represents your hyper boost, an additional method of boost that can be combined with your normal boost to go even faster, as we're gonna see right now. Being able to hit higher speeds than usual, getting the first trick of the run here in water detach. So what exactly is a detach? To explain that, I'm going to explain a little bit of unique control aspects of this game because, as you can see, we're not in a ship with wheels. I guess we have one because we're in Behemoth, but that's besides the point. So on the left stick, you control your steering just like you would in any other racing game. However, on the right stick is where things get interesting because left and right on the right stick controls your strafe to be able to move your ship horizontally without losing speed. But the up and down allows you to pitch your ship up and down, which you need to do when going over hills or through valleys to be sure not to scrape or fly off the track. However, we can use it to our advantage by pitching up at certain portions, whether there's enough curvature or we have a high enough speed to be able to detach and fly off the track. Well, now, why would we want to do that? Well, it's very simple because even while boosting or double boosting or high boosting on the ground, we have a slight speed cap depending on our ship's stats. However, when we're boosting through the air, that cap is completely gone. We'll continue to accelerate, as you're going to see right here over Garden Hop.
That's
barely missing it. Yeah, that is a big cut, and we're gonna be seeing a lot of those cuts throughout the run.
RNG manipulation.
Yeah, it's RNG manipulation for Cloud Ocean. So that's gonna be the running joke for today. So whenever we want to do that because we can boost for as long as possible, not just to cut the track, that as I mentioned, we get to go faster than our usual speeds through that. And one last thing to mention on the controls really quick, as I mentioned the strafing earlier, well, we can strafe and steer. So we can obviously strafe with our steer to be able to take turns tighter, but we can actually do what's known as counter strafing by strafing against our turn, which allows us to swing the back of the ship out to be able to take turns with tighter speeds. If you see something like that where it looks like a traditional drift in another kart race or something like Mario Kart, that's actually a counter strafe here.
And something else we're going to be seeing coming up here, if we've noticed, Eddie's burning that hyper boost all the way down. Now, whenever you use the hyper boost and let it go all the way, it's going to go on a cooldown for 12 seconds. However, if you cancel it early, the cooldown will be reduced, and it can go as low as 6 seconds. We're going to see an early cancel right here. He pops the hyper boost, cancels it mid-turn, so he can control when the next hyper boost becomes available. Since he has the tracks layout memorized, he's able to dictate where and when his next boost becomes available, so he can really take advantage of those long straights and just let the ship run full send, as he's doing right now, sweeping through these 2 straights into this winding turn.
All right, I think we have
It was a
time.
fantastic introduction to the basic mechanics, yeah.
Thank you. And I think we have time for just a quick donation here as we go to the end of Fuji.
Absolutely. We have Jones A with a $10 donation saying, there's been some great donation message puns this event. I hope this one gets read out too.
I like that one. I like that one. All right, we're going to be coming to the end of Fuji here. Now, you may be seeing me or Corsat take some notes down on our phones here between tracks. That it's not because this run's boring. Far from it. We're just going to be recording some times because we have a couple of incentives, and we also focus on the in-game time instead of just a collective time. So Cloak is actually going to be taking track of each individual course's time. Now we're going to be moving on to the second environment here of Old Cairo, moving to the hot desert environment here, and we're going to be seeing a little bit of a smaller track with some more turns. And this will actually be the first time we're going to see what's known as hot sections. So you'll be signified if you see a little flame particle effect around the corners of the screen, which will be coming up right here actually. And that has 2 different effects on your ship. One is pretty obvious. It's hot. That means your ship is going to heat up as you stay in them, which means that will affect how long we are able to boost. We're going to have to take it a little shorter because if we are at max heat, that does still eat into our hull. The second effect is a little more subtle, and that it affects the grip of your ship. You see, as I mentioned earlier, we're not racing with wheels, we're racing instead with magnets here, and similar to how your computer or phone may act a little bit worse whenever it's hot, so do our magnets. So the grip of our ship will actually be lessened through those.
And we're going to see Eddie utilize that detach right here, jumping onto an alternate path. That is something Redout has. Many tracks split into 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 branching paths. And one path is typically faster than the rest, but sometimes the path you take depends on the track's direction as well as the ship. So depending upon what ship may have gotten picked, that may have influenced how this run looks. Of course, you want to provide a little insight on how you guys came to probably port the original Neo Coloma over inspiration for Old Cairo?
Yeah, this Cairo was basically the first environment to be the second, I think, environment to be finalized in Redout 1. So, and we copy-pasted one track at this Cairo Kalima straight from the original game because it was loved by many of the original game's fans. And it was a very interesting process, and it's like these locations really close to our heart because like this was the moment when we made Cairo in Redout 1 when we actually realized we were making a half-decent game and we grew as a studio. And so we're always going to be in love with this environment.
Yeah, and we are in love with them as well. Coming up here, we're going to see Eddie taking advantage of something we call a slingshot. He's going to pass through this loop coming up into a curved left-hand turn, and he's going to take it at such an angle that he receives a speed boost and gets flung out of the turn, taking advantage of centrifugal force to get himself literally shot out of the turn like a cannon.
Yeah, going constantly, like 2200, 2400 kmh throughout that entire turn. Hitting some pretty tremendous speeds there.
And there we see again a cancel of the hyper boost, really manipulating that hyper boost timing so he can have it up for this final corkscrew that's going to lead him into the final turn of the track.
Yep, as we'll see here, that hyper comes out, getting lots of speed, gonna be able to boost through that corkscrew one last turn, and that will be the track here. That is Old Cairo. So now we'll be moving on to the third environment in the game here, which is Mars Memorial. And I'm actually going to pass this one off immediately to Corsat as we take our lap through Faith Town, because it sounds like there's some fun aspects you want to discuss about this track in particular.
Yeah, this was the very first track we produced for the game, and I just wanted to mention how like the proportions of the track that you briefly talked about previously in Cairo, like the track seems narrow in some parts, but in the starting grid, is about 100 feet wide. There's about 30 meters for us Europeans. And there is a sweet spot that has to be like hit while designing the track between being it too wide and being it too narrow. Like if you want to keep visual consistency and like proportions decently, then you have to have it narrow. But like for gameplay, and especially in order to accommodate for like new players, because it has to be a little wider. So this was where, like, this is what you're seeing is our first experiment with track design. And it's very evident because they all share the same starting grid. Like this was a philosophy we approached it with this game compared to Redout 1, where each track was completely separate from the others. We decided to, keep a shared segment in the center at the start of it.
Perfect.
And in Mars, they go pretty much like their own way after the starting grid, after the city.
And something we just witnessed Eddie pull off right there, he pulled off a technique we call in the community a roll dive. As Squanto mentioned earlier, you can utilize your strafe to move laterally on the track left or right. Typically when you take a jump and you want to get back down to the track quickly, you would point the nose down, but that will split your forward momentum between going forward and descending. What Eddie did, and is about to do again, is he's going to roll the ship mid-flight and utilize his strafe to laterally move himself down so that all of his forward momentum can remain pointed forward. And not only that, something else to notate, if you look on the left side there that we passed a low barrier. In fact, we just passed a few more, and there's no barriers on this left side. So the track does have barriers that will keep you, from wandering off the track, as well as barrierless sections that serve as a hazard, but there also is low barriers like right here. If you approach these barriers with the nose pulled up, you will actually vault the barrier, allowing you to cut corners or access certain shortcuts. And
it's very helpful too because those are colored yellow. So if you see any yellow barriers throughout, that is a sign that we can hop those, and we'll be seeing those plenty throughout the run here. And as I come up on the end here, I'll pass off to Blast. Do you have a couple of donations we can get in here?
Yes, indeed I do. We have a $25 anonymous donation that says, I'd never heard of this game before, but I'm happy to be in the backseat of whatever this car, plane, ship, who knows. All I know is that mom is in the driver's seat saying F-Zero. No, we have F-Zero at home, and it's even faster. Nice to see Redout 2 for the first time. Go fast, Etiketi.
Absolutely. And yeah, we're going to be seeing some more of that speed coming up here in just a second. On the final jump, we're going to be taking the same jump we saw in Faith Town here.
Another roll dive execution.
Yep,
hopefully no billboard. No billboard.
Yeah, no billboard here.
And he clears the billboard.
Nice.
Perfect landing.
Great landing too, and then just a simple turn to the finish, and that will be Mars Memorial. Now, that was just the first 3 tracks of the game, which the game acquaints to you fairly early on, says, hey, here's how you can learn the game. But once we hit this 4th environment here, we get the first new environment here of Tartarus, which is the first large track in the game.
And my favorite aesthetic.
Oh yeah, this track is beautiful, but this game takes the definition of throwing you to the fire quite literally, and as we see Eddie descend into the mines of Tartarus here, I want to call back to those hot sections where you'll be taking hull damage and have lower grip, because once we get into the mines of Tartarus, it's a little more than just hot.
Oh yeah, you're going to be exposed to some prolonged heat, so Eddie's going to really have to dig in and manage that hull and that health, although not as much as he normally would, because he is literally in Behemoth. He is literally in a tank, and you're not.
This is the one good thing about Behemoth.
Yep, we are in its
ton
home
of
environment.
Oh yeah. And as you can see here, this first turn is so tight, and a reminder that is with lowered grip from the hot zones too, so we're going to be seeing a lot of that throughout this area. And I want to actually pass the course out here. Do you want to discuss a little bit kind of the design here with Tartarus Mines?
Yeah, well, as you said, we played the easy track so far. This is the first time we actually throw some nasty turns and nasty corners. There's an infamous one without barriers in the external wall. It's very loved by the community. Yeah, the crown corner. They love it. But yeah, the heat influences gameplay not only because of risk reward based on your boost patterns, but also when your ship is very hot, you take more collision damage, and also you have slightly more grip and more stability on a hot track, less grip on a cold track, and when you're running on water. We try to introduce these kind of sneak mechanics to help a little more, a little less experienced players, and try to push for higher risk reward.
Now,
and also the curbs that you can see at the corner, at the edges of the track, they're not just there for decoration. They slightly push you inward. So when you're just driving above a curb, just like in Formula 1, let's say, we gently nudge you towards the center. Now Eddie doesn't definitely need that, but we thought it could be an easy, a nice gesture for new players.
Yeah, coming up here, we're going to see the possible first instance of what we call a landing bug in the community, which does happen. For those of you watching, you probably noticed Eddie's getting these landing grades whenever he hits a zone, like so, perfect landing. That's the one we want to look for since it preserves your speed and gives you a small bonus. But when a landing bug happens, his speed gets nerfed. For anyone familiar with SM64's backwards long jump, where you build up enough momentum to bypass something's collision in less than 1 frame, we believe that's happening here in Redout 2, in which when you land fast enough at a harsh enough angle, your ship clips into the track and the game corrects you back up onto it, and this correction is what eats your speed. So, of course, any input on that? And a question for you. You said that heat increases grip. That is what some of the tutorials in-game say, but we found the opposite is heat actually decreases grip while cold increases it.
You're all wrong. No, that's the only explanation I can get of it. But like now talking about collisions, it's kind of funny that you mentioned it, because like I should say that like there is no physical collision between the ship and the truck, considering that the bottom of the truck and the walls, everything is math. So there is no collider like Redout 2 is made in Unreal Engine 5, but we use no physics collision between the ship and the truck. Everything is calculated. And that's because like at these speeds, we found like physics to be not reliable, not too reliable.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention.
So sometimes, it happens.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention is previously there, we just saw Eddie take one of the paths there. As we mentioned those split paths earlier, sometimes they get really long, as we're going to see here, and there's typically a faster and shorter section here, but we're going to actually see something unique here, if you want to take it away, Cloak.
Yep. Eddie is currently leaving one of these splits, crossing over to the other path before crossing back over. Essentially, sometimes split paths, one is faster while the other is outright slower, but the faster one still has a slower section that you want to avoid. So you may cross over from the fast section to avoid its slow section before returning back to it, basically taking the best of both worlds when it comes to splits, and we call this crossovers.
Yes, and something else too is that we get a little bit more airtime there as well to be able to gain some more additional speed, as mentioned earlier with boosting throughout the air. And I think as we go to the end of Tartarus here, Blast, do you have maybe a donation or two to lead out this track?
Yeah, we got about 20 seconds for donations for you.
All right, I've got a $50 donation from Cloakshire. Wait a minute. It says, I've been watching GDQ at home for years, and now here I am for the first time sitting on the couch among friends. I'm simply amazed at how awesome the GDQ community is and how so many great people can come together for a great cause. My father was diagnosed with cancer in the early 2000s, and after treatment, he's been cancer-free for 22 years. Let's keep those donations coming so we can beat cancer faster than we fly in Redout 2.
All right, we're going to be moving on to the fifth environment here, and this is going to be the exact opposite of what we just saw. We were just in the fiery pits of Tartarus with all those twists and turns, and now we're in the deep blue Mariana Trench, where we're going to be seeing a lot of straightaways here, and that's because of this new environment here being that we're in the water here. You want to explain some of the differences of that, Cloak?
Yeah, so there's two main side effects of being in the water.
First off, hold on.
Oh, swag? Does he land it?
Of course.
Perfect land.
Oh,
Nice. So, two effects of being in the water, other than, as you can see on the edges of the screen, unlike Tartarus, there's not fire on the edge, there's this watery blue effect that signifies that Eddie's ship is receiving enhanced cooling. So he will heat up slower, cool down faster, and consume less health when boosting underwater, which is actually a good thing, since when he's underwater, he has to fight the drag that water would bring to the ship. So that extra boost time is what's going to allow him to cut through that water and basically, really take advantage, especially in Behemoth's case, because he's got that much more hole to burn.
We're going to be getting some long boosts during this track. And one thing as well, as we mentioned the slingshots earlier, this track has a lot of those valleys that we're going to be able to see. So whenever you go over some of those crests, we'll be utilizing slingshots, even if briefly. And we'll be seeing that a lot during Mariana here.
Exactly. He's going to be going on the outside of some inverted loops, pulling negative Gs. Think of like spinning a yo-yo around. Your hand's not moving that much, but the yo-yo's going a lot faster. That's essentially kind of what the ship is doing, kind of like what we saw right there.
Oh yeah, that was very clean. Just big jump into one of those slingshots here, and then immediately another jump here. This is what Mariana is all about.
So, Corset, we went over a little bit of, the side effects of being in water. If I'm not mistaken, it does affect some more aspects of the ship's handling as far as the raw stats. Can you elaborate a little more on that?
I think you covered pretty much like the basics of it. Like the atmospheric thickness was always an idea to play around with it. So lower speed, like of course you're driving in a liquid. We tried, I should mention, we tried with like proper physical parameters, like to see what the proper drag of water would be. And it's pretty close. The value that we actually implemented in the game are pretty close. So you're actually running on water, in water, I would say. So lower speed, lower steering and strafing, more stability, of course. And I should mention that how stability works, maybe, because it's basically a force that contrasts your centrifugal force, let's say. Like we apply a force to the center of the ship, trying to fight your, the urge of your ship to fly off the track. But then we also push it a little bit forward to compensate for the loss of speed that comes from applying another force towards the center of the track.
Interesting.
Ooh, nice.
That was one. So we're at 2 so far. I should just mention I am currently tracking those landing bugs that we have just gotten. We've only gotten 2 so far, but I am keeping track of those, and I am going to be doing a $5 donation at the end of the run for every single landing bug that we see.
Yeah, and I'm also going to be keeping track of something here as well. I'm keeping track how many times that Eddie taps a wall here, which might not be fully accurate, but I think I'm getting it close. It can be hard to tell when you're going at this high of speeds.
And juggling the commentary.
Oh yeah, there's sometimes where it's like it'll be close enough, but that's actually not tapping. We're just riding that line really close, like there, for instance.
Yeah. And coming up here, we're actually going to see another prime example of a slingshot effect. Eddie's going to be jumping into a half pipe into a sweeping, curved right-hander. And if he can take a good line through this right-hander, he is going to get flung through and maintain easily over 2,400 miles per hour. Sorry, I almost used the Imperial system. We need to keep it metric here in Redout. I did not mean to offend.
No, that's free.
That was a very clean jump. That half pipe jump alone is pretty tough, but maintaining that speed through that turn is even tougher. But very cleanly done here from Eddie.
So it's a little hot in this section of the track, isn't it, Squanto?
Oh yeah, it's a little hot, but it might actually be the hottest.
Funnily enough, the geyser sections here at the end of the third track, Nuliachuk, is actually one of the hottest sections in the game, rivaling a hot magma section that we'll see later on in the DLC tracks. It's just kind of funny. You can chill literally right over lava and be fine, but chilling in a geyser underwater, your ship gives up.
Water's hot.
Yeah, water's hot. And we're going to be going to the exact opposite of an environment we're just in, going from the deep blue sea of the Mariana Trench to the beautiful cloud ocean in the skies. Now, this is going to be at the beginning of the track here. We're going to give a little bit of focus time for Eddie for a couple of technical jumps here. But one thing to highlight is that we are in the exact opposite environment, mean that we're in the thinner atmosphere here, which is actually going to have some different effects that we just saw.
Yeah, the ship's going to be a little more twitchy. He's going to basically get more potency out of his thrust stat, more speed. The ship's going to be a little harder to control. So we're going to give him some focus time here for these jumps.
Yeah, and some of these jumps are very technical too, especially with those control changes.
Big roll dive opportunity. Beautifully executed roll dive.
That was beautiful. Yeah, that jump can be pretty tricky, especially sometimes with these clouds, because sometimes these clouds decide to get in the way of that jump, and it can be a little tricky.
Yeah.
For like the entirety of that jump, by the way. I could not see what I was doing.
So as we ride the first third of this, Bless, do we have any donations that we want to squeeze in?
Yes, indeed we do. Your community has come out loud and strong in donations, so here's just a few of them.
Oh boy.
We have $10 from Ukyu saying, wait, there's whales down here in the Mariana Trench? Greetings from the Netherlands. Good luck, Etiketi. Good luck on the Neo Tokyo track later. Less than 3. Anonymous Redout 2 fan says, with a $10 donation, Kane's Flats is the best track.
You're wrong.
We like to call it Payne's Splats.
Yeah, we'll get there in due time, but right now we're going to see a small crossover here, and shortly up we're going to see a very big one, and we're going to want full focus for this upcoming jump because it's going to be very tricky.
Not this one.
Not this one.
No. we're about 10 seconds out.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Hopefully the clouds will cooperate.
Okay. Play nice. I think I'm a little too high.
Oh, he saves it! He saves it!
That
I don't
was
know how I
incredible.
saved that.
That looked very different than what I was used to. That you can't scare me like that now.
So what you just saw Eddie do there was leave the track to skip a bunch of small turns that he would have otherwise had to take at a slower pace. Now, you may be wondering, if he's able to do that, why doesn't he just literally leave the track and fly straight to the finish? That's because whenever you leave the track, everything past the next checkpoint goes inactive. So if you touch those parts of track that are inactive, your ship blows up and you don't receive credit. So if you leave the track, you want to make sure you come back to it before the next checkpoint or before you run into one of the invisible kill walls that our lovely playtester Blue has ensured we have a lot of in the game.
And also getting, not just avoiding those twists and turns that make you lose speed, because we're in the air, we're able to maintain those boosts and actually gain speed throughout it as well.
And of course, do we have a brief input on the flight controls?
Well, not sure how much of an input, but I should mention that we were uncertain whether to keep them or not until the very last moment. But then it was very tricky to actually design these jumps with those in mind.
Oh, well, you did a fantastic job with this jump right here. This is one of the fastest sections in the game.
Very well
Eddie
done.
is screaming through it. One little landing bug there, kicking him down to 2,400.
Still maintains so
Still
much
maintains
speed.
so much speed through that.
That's that behemoth hole for you.
You guys did a fantastic job with Cloud Ocean. The speeds you can reach there is just so fun, so fast.
For me, at least, that is a section that I think sells just how fast you're going more than almost anything in the game. It's beautiful.
Like, it was very tough to plan all the landings and all the available trajectories and how to actually place the arrows around the level in order to guide the new players.
Oh yeah, and sometimes still, even going through these tracks the first time, sometimes I'll miss them. Anyways, we're going to go to a much smaller track here in Neo Tokyo, and as you can tell from that brutal first chicane, this track is all about tight turns, and it's very fitting because in game it even says this track was designed for street racing. It's very apparent all these tight twists and turns. So something to keep in mind here is we're usually trying to boost through these straightaways, just be able to build speed, but this track has fewer of those than most, so we're going to need to find some different spots to be able to maintain that boost.
And of course, with all of these turns, the bid war put me in the ship with some of the worst steering in the game.
Hey, it's fine in some.
Hey,
but we are in Neo Tokyo.
Look at the bright side. You are literally in a tank.
I feel like it.
So, Corsat, you told us that this was one of your favorite environments. So, tell us a little bit about why that is.
Personally, yes, because it's very tight, it's very compact, so we had to make an intelligent use of space while designing it, actually thinking about each and every corner, how to find space, this verticality and these jump downwards. We were literally trying to find some space in order to fit in some straight sections in this track, because the space is so limited, especially in the city.
You know, I actually have a question on that. I actually have a question on that, because you may notice there that part of the city's underwater. Was that always the case with this track?
Yeah, it was actually part of the lore. So underwater, what you see is the old city that was submerged for reasons, and then they built a new city just above it because it was easier.
Well, it was submerged for reasons, and then the SRL showed up to build a racetrack on top of something that happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they usually do that.
I think there's one example that's later on that's a little bit weirder of why would you build a racetrack here?
Well, anytime something bad happens, just build a racetrack there.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to one of those soon.
Bread and circuses.
Yeah, the important part is that make it exciting, right? That's what they're after.
Oh yeah, the environments in this game can be so different.
And visually stunning, too. Just seeing all this whiz by you, especially the neon lights at Neo Tokyo. Speaking of whizzing by, Blast, do you want to whiz by us with a few donations, please?
Absolutely. More love for the crew here as we have a $50 donation from Light Kite saying, shout out to my boy Cloakshire. Best of luck to you and the runner. Timberly chimes in with a $50 donation saying hello from Texas. Shout out to the #1 Potemkin player and #1 master of talking fast, YaBoiSquanto. Keep up the great commentary. We're cheering you on in voice chat. And hang on now, Corsat also chimed in with a $50 donation, saying go faster than ever. And also check out our next game, Carmageddon Rogue Shift. Nice plug.
Gotta get that plug in.
Do I have to make a
shout out to the team. Yeah, who is actually watching this live from the studio, so shout out to them.
Hi, 34 big things.
Actually wrapping up the next game, yeah.
So do I need to like put in a $50 donation now to get the 3 commentators all of donations for this run? All right, we're going to be coming into the end of Neo Tokyo there. And now we're going to be going from one of the smallest environments in the game to by far the longest. Welcome to Genesis. So for the previous tracks, we've seen like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, sometimes maybe like 4:40, 4:50. For this track, we're looking for between 5:20 and 5:30. We're going to be seeing a lot of speed, so I want you to keep it right on the top right for the percentage, because if you think we're going fast, keep an eye on that. We're going to see just how long we have to go here. Now, I'll ask Cole a very important question. Have you been on a city in the moon before?
No. Canonically, this is the worst place to live.
I mean...
because stuff like that happens outside my apartment window.
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, Eddie makes it look clean there, makes it look easy, but, you know, in order to make it look good, you have to have failed it a few times.
Yeah, why do you think I moved out?
Wait, you're on Genesis?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, you know what we do want to talk about, though, is this track of Lunar City. If you're a fan of these big jumps and cuts we've been doing, there's quite a few in the Lunar City here that should be a nice piece of eye candy for you.
Hitting the slingshot. Quick break into this technical S-bend. There's B-Mouse Strafe coming in handy for it. Perfect. Little cut here.
Nice.
Smooth landing, very nice. That cut does not save a lot of time. It's more style than substance, but it is so satisfying when you land it right.
Hey, you didn't say it saved a lot of time. You still saved time.
He is going faster than ever. You want to save as much as you can.
Speaking of faster than ever, hey, Blast, do you have a quick donation or two before we get to the next track here?
I do have a longer one that I think you guys might want to hear.
Ooh, okay. Does it potentially relate to the next track here?
It does not.
Okay.
It is a $400 donation from the North Louisiana Smash Brothers scene, saying, hey, Squanto and Etiketi, it's basically tradition for a lot of us to gather during GDQ week to watch the event, and it's so cool that we get to see some of our own on the stage this year. We're overjoyed to get the pleasure of reminding our friends how much we love and support them while also contributing to a fantastic cause. So many people in our community were quick to give when they heard y'all would be here, and it just goes to show the impact y'all made on the scene. We've missed you guys since y'all moved away, but we're all so proud and happy to see y'all doing awesome things at an awesome event. Lastly, I can't resist an opportunity to get this wonderful announcer to say, hit the squad!
That's from Smash. Thank you all so much. Yeah, just some old friends. And we're going to be actually going outside of the dome here on Kane's Flats.
Flats.
Oh yeah, we're going to see why, because once we're out here, there is no gravity. So once we hit this jump, hope you're happy with the direction your ship is going. As you see here, it's not a kind jump, but we're going to make, again, Eddie will make it look easy here. And now I want to actually pass it off to Blast again here, just because this is the one and only Kane's Flats, aka Payne's Splats, and there are quite a few opinions. We have some diehard fans of this one, and we want to know if any donations come in, making their voices known.
I think the voices have made them.
There we go. $50 and 1 cent from Icebox saying, good morning from France, donated in support of Kane's Flat being the best track in Redout 2.
Yeah! And this is exactly why it's the best track, coming in on the Genesis Highway, an extremely fast straight that just sends you flying back into the city. You can reach speeds of almost 4,000 kilometers per hour. Unfortunately, we won't see that in the Behemoth because that ship got voted in.
We still hit 3,000 consistently. That was great.
But we'll still see a whole bunch of speed during that section, and that won't be the only time we'll see it, as this next track that we're on will bring us back around to the Genesis Highway, but there will be extra boost pads, so we will be going even faster.
Absolutely, yeah. It can get so fast there, and it's very clear why it's called Genesis Highway. It is quite literally a highway. That being said, until we hit there, I wanted to actually ask Corsat, do you have any talk on this track you want to kind of go over with Genesis? Because how do you design a city on the moon?
Or a track in no gravity.
That too.
Well, that was the fun part, actually. Like, you're not constrained by gravity, so you can really go crazy with tilts and like banking turns and like all these kind of dips.
Random programming question: was doing no gravity just going to like the gravity stat and just putting a 0 in there?
Pretty much, yeah. There's a trigger. Actually, I think it's the other way around. If I'm not mistaken, like the gravity for the environment is set to 0, and then there's a trigger in the dome that says, "Okay, here you have gravity here."
Oh, okay. That's pretty neat.
And we saw Eddie clip through a little bit of collision there. That really long jump he just took. There are a bunch of little platforms on the side that you can take, but we just want to fly all the way to the end, take advantage of that boosting time in the air without gravity.
Hey, now, if you think really hard about it, does collision exist?
If you're going fast enough, no.
Faster than ever?
Faster than ever.
Boo them.
Anyways, we're going to be coming up after these last few turns here to the Genesis Highway once more, making its name known, getting a couple of extra boost pads in here. Let's see how
26,
fast
27,
he
20.
can get.
Coming in, landing at the last second. Going
That could be very tricky.
I went for it.
Speeds.
I went for it.
He went for the swag.
It was
worth
close
it.
though. Yeah, it was worth it. Very close though.
I tried to do that for you, Tor.
I'm still gonna say I finished faster some of your practice runs.
Don't remind me.
No. Anyways, would you want to say what your thoughts on this next track are?
My thoughts are, your favorite racing game might be cool. Is it Race Around a Black Hole cool? I don't think so.
Oh yeah, this is Origin Black Hole, probably the most visually stunning track in the entire game, but we have a black hole there, and that is not for show.
That's correct. The black hole is always pulling you towards it at all times, and with Redout 2's track design twisting you around, changing your orientation, that black hole is going to be changing its relation to you constantly, because right now it's down below us on the right. As we come around this turn, it's going to be in front of us. Gravity will be pulling you left, right, forward, back. It will help you, it will harm you, and we're about to see one of its biggest helps right here on a section we call the Brain Melter, where Eddie's going to dive into the black hole section right here, going over a crest, getting a gravity slingshot through that, getting slung through, instantly rocketing to 3,000 kilometers per hour. It is one of the fastest sections in the game, despite being one of the shortest burst speed sections.
Yeah, and one thing to note there is if you're looking, we actually decelerated there a little bit. That's just because during that crest there and that inverted loop, if we don't brake the second we hit 3,200 km/h, we're actually going so fast that we will detach and fly off the track no matter what. So we need to
high second.
High second place.
Oh, that hadn't happened a lot recently. It happened a lot before.
I usually beat them.
Yeah, so on the boss tracks, we have to have at least one opponent here. So second place making themselves known. Give a shout out to second place here.
So just want to highlight real fast coming up, Eddie's going to be passing through a corkscrew, and keep an eye on that black hole. It's below him. Now it's left, above, right, below, left, above. Gravity was constantly pulling him every which way during that section, but he kept the line straight and made it look easy.
Absolutely. So pretty quickly here, can you explain kind of how you did that gravity manipulation for the black hole, Corsat?
Yeah, it was custom made. At the beginning, we designed the track by simply like placing the black hole at the bottom and like rotating everything by 90 degrees. So like it looked like you were racing in space. But then that wasn't enough. Like rotating the world was also a pain, like practically. Mm-hmm. So we basically implemented a gravity that is towards a single point, and it's custom.
Yeah,
so it actually behaves like a black hole with a very
that's really
dense
cool.
single point.
So
thank you.
So coming in here to the final track of Black Hole Sputnik, one of the most notorious tracks in the Redout community, as it serves as the penultimate challenge in the base campaign. This track is all about momentum conservation. You've been seeing before how Eddie bursts his speed up and cruises for a little bit. Well, this track is about holding that burst speed for a prolonged period of time. We're going to see him sling through this loop, over this crest, through this little squiggly bend right here. I like to call this section squiggles. A quick hyper boost to refresh his speed. The black hole's above him, so he's going to receive a little gravity assist on that crest, getting through a loop into a right-hander that's going to shoot him down to the black hole. Watch that speedometer. It's going to rapidly accelerate.
Oh, yeah.
And we are now down at the accretion disk. It's a pretty sight down here at the black hole, and it is also hot because black holes are apparently hot.
Do we have like scientific data from black hole? Like, did y'all go to tour a black hole when we're making this track?
Talk about realism.
Yeah.
I think we made everything up.
That's. I mean, honestly, that's fair.
So coming up
It looks
here
real good.
is the final challenge of the Sputnik track. Eddie's going to be diving into the black hole, into this right-hander, hoping to get a slingshot gravity assist through the turn so that he can come up this spiral. The black hole is behind him, and had he not performed that correctly, the black hole would have pulled him back, and he would have had to do a crawl of shame out of that area. So
That was beautifully done.
yeah, so we're going to go ahead and pass it over to Blast as we transition to the next track right here. Blast, take it away with some donations.
The Campin' Dutchman chimes in with a $10
Hey.
donation, saying, ciao, everyone. Of course, that might be the dev on the mic, but the other devs are lurking and watching. Working on Redout 2 was a great privilege, and I'm super happy to see it being represented here, helping out with such a fantastic charity. I see tracks, I have become track, the trackiest of them all. Big ups, everyone, and enjoy.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to introduce this next track here because we are on the beautiful sights of the Caribbean Dam. You know, we just had the most punishing track in the entire game. So why don't we just go take a nice little vacation here? We got tropical sights. We got crabs even here.
Get your crab emotes out.
Oh, yeah.
Did
However,
you guys see crabs?
it's all, yeah, we have some crabs here. We're not going to see them for a little bit, but once we go back to the starting section, there's a whole line of them.
His name's Tony.
Which one?
The crab, the red one.
Okay. So, the thing is, though, that's all a ruse, because we just went from the most punishing track in the game to the most punishing environment. So you're gonna see throughout this entire track, essentially like three mini Sputniks back to back. This track is about preserving that momentum and keeping your speed high, as Cloak talked about throughout the entirety of Sputnik here, except we're gonna see it over the entire environment of Caribbean Dam.
Yeah, the straightaways on this track just allow you to, in the game's words, when you first come here, unleash the full power of your ship, and they were not kidding. There are so many boost pads and so many straightaways, so many places just to really open that ship up and just let it full burn and go as fast as you can possibly go.
Oh, yeah, here's the crabs I'm talking about. You got one on the left here, one on the right. Tony was a bit earlier. I did see him this time.
Yeah, I forgot to wave to him. So
We'll do it on the next way back.
yeah, so Corset, you wanted to talk a little bit about the development pipeline, since this was the first DLC environment. So how was it creating this track after the game had already had its initial release?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention real quick that I think this is one of the visually one of the tracks I prefer. Like visually, it's just so colorful and it's so well integrated with the ground and the landscape. That is something I really loved, and I know that the team loved it as well. Like, and the fun part is that like you really learn how to not properly make tracks, but like the tracks you make once the production is over are always better than the ones you started with. At least that was my impression. And that's kind of a shame, because then you think like, development is over. But thankfully, like we got around to do a couple of DLCs where we could like try new stuff. And I love how in this case we managed to like create like space for actually going fast and unleash the power of your ship, and at the same time insert some technical sections where you have to manage rolls on your jumps and like manage your stability and strafing in tight corners. That is something we really looked forward to, because the meta stat is speed, of course, because it's a racing game, but like we have all these other stats like steering, strafing, stability, and whatnot. So they have to be relevant, right? If you put them in there in the game, then they have to be useful. So tracks like Tokyo and technical sections like these like justify their existence in a way.
And now we're going to be coming up to the final track of the Caribbean Dam, and my personal favorite to say, which is Tropical Twister. That's just a great name. Now,
Tubular.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of a long time on on one word to describe it, and I'd call it tubular.
Now, why would you call it tubular, though?
Well, I mean, look at you're doing all these jumps through this waterfall section, and now you got this big turn coming up, which is one of the most satisfying turns in the entire game.
Oh yeah, taking this turn at speed, just hugging it, just the satisfaction of just drifting through a wide turn at high speed. It's just when you nail it right.
Okay, I also chose tubular for one more reason. That is for the Tropical Twister itself. So let's see how many boost pads Eddie can get here.
2.
That's 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Nice. And also that was a tube. That's why I said tubular. Yeah, there's so many boost pads scattered throughout. We want to hit as many as we possibly can just to get all that additional speed coming out to the end of the track.
Going to be seeing a little hyper here into a very tight loop, hoping for no landing bugs so Eddie can get a slingshot through this.
Yeah, there was another section like this earlier that was absolutely, when Corsa was talking, I just want to go back and just say that was absolutely beautiful. That went perfect. Now, as we round out this track, do we have one or two donations real quick from Blast?
Yeah, absolutely. Got a little bit of a longer one from Zorinar, a $100 donation that says, "Hey, Eddie, making it to the GDQ stage is truly amazing. All of us here in the community are so proud of you and are lucky to have you. All the hard work you have put into not just this run, but also the tournaments you put on and the fun you bring to the weekly wall grind. Good luck on the run, brace for takeover, and dream of Lenare buffs."
Yeah.
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 All right, so now we're going to be going to Terra Root. So we just went through the most punishing track in the game, then the most punishing environment. So that means we're going to have a break, right?
No.
Yeah, and there's one reason, besides just the track design itself, there's one important thing that this track introduces, which is a term that's colloquially become known as Griplash. So, Cloak, do you want to explain what Griplash is?
Sure. So, as we discussed earlier when we were in Cairo and Mariana Trench, and as Corsac gave insight on, when you're in a hot area, your grip increases, and when you're in a cold area, of course, that had me confused. When you're in a hot area, your grip decreases, and when you're in a cold area, your grip increases. Now, Terra Roops has quite a few sections that will see you changing from hot to neutral to cold, back to hot, many times over, especially during some very technical sections that Eddie's going to have to navigate. And he's going to have to do that while his ship's grip is changing constantly.
And in the ship that can't turn.
And in the ship that can't turn, but hey, it's a tank. But we're going to see that mainly towards the end of this, on one of the more infamous tracks, Maidens of Carrier, or as we say for short, we just call it Maidens. So up until then, we've got plenty of time. So, of course,
that being said, we're still going to see these environmental changes as dictated by the corner of the screen here.
And then coming up real quick, we're going to see this long straightaway in the cold. Eddie's going to really be able to leverage that extra hold the Behemoth has to boost through this entire thing, take this jump, flip the ship 180 degrees, hopefully no landing bug,
Nice
into one of the
done.
scariest corners
All
you're
right.
coming into, because you come into, you very cleanly taken, you come into that hairpin at an extremely high speed.
On the ship that can't turn, by the way.
But it's a tank.
It's a tank, but apparently it's got stopping on a dime, so.
Because it has no stability.
So, of course, any insight on Terra Roops?
I wanted to say that I also hate Behemoth, but maybe I shouldn't.
My man.
Nah, not much. I mean, it was a joy to design this specific track because we set off with having wide open spaces and not be constrained. So this is, in a way, is the opposite of Tokyo. I love Tokyo because you have a challenge, and I love these because you have a blank canvas, and it was very nice.
So
and as you mentioned, all these effects on the driving, from the temperature, we do interpolate them. The thing is, you go, especially Eti, when you go fast, when you go this fast, switching between one area and the other happens very quickly, and so the effects are applied to the ship as well, quickly as well. So of course things change right under the hood.
Oh yeah, I mentioned earlier, we mentioned building the track on top of a city that was over a destroyed city. This one is just they found ancient ruins here and built a track through it. That was the protocol.
Yeah, let's not dig them up, put them in a museum or study them. Let's just build a racetrack there.
And the sites are beautiful though.
As the SRL does.
That being said, we have hit the final track, which is the infamous Maidens. So I'll let you take it away, Cloak.
So right now Eddie's going through a little bit of a temp change section, but he's not going through the big one yet. So we're going to go ahead and pay attention to the corners of his screen if you can. Right as soon as he rounds this upcoming corner, you're going to see it get hot, and then he's going to start going through some rapid temperature changes. I'm going to call him out as we do it. So right now, he's hot. Now he's neutral. Now he's hot again. Neutral. Cold. Neutral. Hot. Neutral, and back to cold, all on a long hairpin turn that he has to maintain control of through the entirety with his grip changing. What was that, 6 or 7 times over? That was not easy, but he makes it look easy.
Absolutely. And on the ship that can't steer, by the way.
On the ship that can't steer, by the way. Eddie's coming up to one of the most infamous hairpins in the game, actually, because this hairpin claims a lot of runs.
Oh, yeah.
But he makes it through just fine. And we're going to be heading to the end of Terra Roops now. Blessed, we have room for probably 2 or 3 quick donations before we pass it off to Eddie for Vertex.
Sounds good. We have a $10 donation from Seal saying, good luck on the run, Etiketi. $25 from CJski16 saying, been anticipating this one. Let's go, Eddie. $7 from Blue saying, every weirdly placed invisible wall has a story. And I think we saw that in action earlier on in the run.
Kinda.
And we do also have a $200.05 donation.
5 cents?
Yeah, 205
Okay.
from Mr. Stetler. That was done via Twitch. And just a reminder to the fine folks at home, if you are donating via Twitch, you can just go ahead and where you typically see subscribe, you can click donate to charity. And if you are on desktop, we do have the Twitch extension, which allows you to then support our incentives and bid wars.
As we come towards the end here, I kind of want to take over a bit. I want to take this opportunity to just give a massive shout out to the Redout community in general. I would not be on this stage without you. All of you that helped me get directly better, you taught me new tricks, you gave me ideas on how to practice, you just challenged me to do all of these cool things. You helped me get to the skill level I'm at today, where I'm able to throw myself on GDQ, crash, and still kind of have fun while I'm doing it, which is kind of crazy, actually.
Even though you're in a behemoth.
Exactly.
The ship that can't steer.
People like Zoronar, Rokanath, Dandy, Cloakshire behind me, Neurocosm, Navy Star Bandit, Yuri saw even then. All of you are instrumental in kind of creating that Lunare pilot that scares you in multiplayer. But it's not just them that create a good community. You also need good pillars. You need good people in a community, and Redout has that in spades. Redout has been one of the most, how do I say this, positive and welcoming communities I have ever had the pleasure to be a part of. It's a community where you can get better just for the sake of getting better. You can play a game simply because you want to have fun. And the people where I can basically say I play multiplayer not because I'm looking for any kind of glory or anything like that, but because I genuinely want to play with you guys is incredible. People like Ironos, people like Psydak, Dell, Shagahod, Icebox, some old heads as well. You're all incredible people, and I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to meet all of you and at least show you a very good game on GDQ stage. And hey, if Redout has inspired you and you're thinking, man, this game looks awesome, I want to play this too, there is actually an official community you can go find where we're hosting multiplayer sessions every week. We're hosting tournaments, as that one donation from Zorinar kind of indicated. Matter of fact, there's a Welcome Week tournament happening soonish, I believe, so if you're a new player, keep in mind out for that. And we also just have challenges like the 7-day challenge, which are designed to push you into your limits. Just get better at the game at your own pace. It's a fantastic place to start. However, if anti-gravity racing now also has you hooked, you're thinking, man, I want more games like this. You're not alone. There are other communities out there for other anti-gravity racing games, and one that I want to draw particular attention to is a group of Wipeout players and the Anti-Gravity Racing Foundation. You can search them up and you'll find them there. They're a collection of Wipeout players who are dedicated to just playing Wipeout for the sake of having fun with it. And they similarly have the same type of community where they just get together and play a game they love, even if, I think they say this in their own server description, they're fantasizing over a dead game. That's all I have to say for shoutouts. So as we're coming to the end here, I want to point out that time is coming up soon once you see a giant first pop up on screen. We'll call it out together.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet. So do you have actually like one quick donation here?
We're really close.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
Okay. So we are about to enter the final hyper here. The next one will be our last on
GDQ
here.
Are you ready? Final hyper is incoming now. We're going to make a left turn and then we're going to cross the finish. Get ready.
Right.
Whip that turn.
3,
Hyper
2, 1. Time. You want to say anything?
We're getting there. We're getting. Let me get the time together.
I'm not impressed with this time. I'm not impressed with this time, but
it was still great. That was a beautiful run.
So your time was a 47:44.92.
And that's
very slow, by the way. The world record is me by 47:17, and I've been hitting sub 47s in practice. I am distraught over this.
That was great. That was beautiful.
You had the B-Moth.
Yeah, it's Beam.
You did well.
It's your fault, Shago. You did this, Shago.
No, you'll get to see my run tomorrow, and then we can compare. We compare times.
Oh, I
then.
cannot wait.
So since Eddie
May I
did,
say one thing, Eddie? May I say one thing? Like, that final speech makes you a winner in any case.
Oh, thank you.
so Eddie went ahead and did his little spiel. I just want to give a massive shout out to the Redout community as well. I want to give a shout out to GDQ. Thank you guys for having us here, letting us bring a little bit of what we find special in gaming to share it here with y'all in hopes that we can show that we have a community. We're always looking for people to come have fun with us. And I just want to give you guys a big thank you and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's so great to be here for the first time.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to say real quick, as someone that's been going through it myself, if you are interested in this game and say, hey, this game looks great, I want to try it, then I recommend you to do so and then come back to this run after playing it for a bit, because this run was already impressive, but it just gets even more impressive the more time you put into this game. There's so many small things because of just how unique this game is. Anyways, I wanted to ask you, Corset, do you have any last final thoughts, comments? Any shout-outs you want to do?
Well, again, I'd like to give a shout out to the dev team who's actually working on our next game, who's due in February. Long live Edgy Racing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Corset. I cannot express how great it was to be able to have you on commentary with us here. And once again, thank you, GDQ, for having us. But if that's it, then I will just go ahead and say, Blast, you can take us out.
All right, everybody, let's show some love once again for YaBoiSquanto, Cloakshire, and of course,